This podcast is presented by the Bank of San Antonio, our community's source for entrepreneurial business growth. This episode is dedicated to all the entrepreneurs out there powering the possible and earning their growth every day. To build your business even further, consider joining the network of entrepreneurs at the Bank of San Antonio, member FDIC. Today's story is about the power of exploration. What new paths can you explore to grow your impact? We've all had that moment of realizing our uniqueness and the measure of our potential. So today's story is about that, having the audacity of ambition and a resilient mindset, fueled by grit and curiosity to grow a successful business. Dr. Richard Schlosberg is both a physician and an entrepreneur, in that order. His first love and proudest impact is caring for thousands of children and families across San Antonio. As an entrepreneur, he and his partner founded ABCD Pediatrics with 5 locations, 24 doctors, and 95 employees. He has that essential balance of confidence and humility that makes him a great doctor and entrepreneur. 20 years ago, Dr. Schlosberg was a recent medical school graduate and an inspired physician. He wanted to start his own practice and expand it to other locations, but nowhere in his schooling did he ever learn how to run a business. That, he says, is when he knew it was up to him to develop his entrepreneurial skills. This is a conversation about an entrepreneur who is both a doctor by day and an entrepreneur by trade. It's about writing the chapters in your life, reinventing the main character when necessary, and taking bold risks, especially when it means taking the first step into a field of dreams. Sometimes the path of entrepreneurship requires you to start with nothing and stop at nothing to succeed.
The first thing I had was nothing to lose. I had student loan debt, I had no assets, I had some good ideas, I had a few hardworking, loyal employees, I had a good partner, I had a strong administrator. And we said, it's okay to borrow a lot of money and buy land and build a building. And it was a little bit of a field of dreams. If we build it, I'm sure they will come. And luckily, the patients came. And luckily, our business plan took off.
You'd be astonished at the level of work it takes to be both a fully scheduled doctor and a principal in a thriving multi-location practice.
I have to do all my work from the business outside the exam room. And that's a challenge because 95% of my day is seeing patients and doing what I love to do. The other 50% of that day, so it's about 145% work day, is running the business. But to me, it's getting the right people, doing the right job to carry the business forward.
Some might say it's this audacity of ambition that drives him, and others attribute it to the business acumen he learned on the sidelines as the son of Dick Schlosberg, who for many years was the publisher of the LA Times and sat on the corporate board of eBay. Either way, it must run in the Schlosberg family to be allergic to complacency. Welcome to San Antonio Business Heroes. I'm your host, Angelica Palm, here with a business blueprint that shows how businesses are built and grown in San Antonio. Today, we share exclusive insights about what it takes to be a double-duty entrepreneur, to work on your business and to work in your business at the same time. It's not the expected path for entrepreneurs, but then again, how do you achieve satisfaction in your life's work if your greatest joy is doing your life's work? Eventually, everything connects.
Well, as a primary care physician, the impact I have personally on the lives of so many children trump any other success. It's a great relationship with families. It's a generational relationship. It's almost like watching your own kids grow, one patient at a time. And when I see a patient go off to college and the family reminds me I saw them in the nursery when they were born, it is incredibly special. So that's what I'm most proud of, just the relationship and the impact I've had with kids and families in San Antonio.
This conversation is going to give you a peek into what it takes to explore the possible, whether that's through measured strategic growth, being a student for life, or building a team of like-minded visionaries. Hopefully, you see that in the world, like Dr. Schlossberg's world of medicine, that it's always changing, and the future will diverge from the present. What could you build if you harnessed the power of exploration? I'm so excited about this, and I want you to share this with your friends, colleagues, and those who need inspiration to power their business or idea. So if you're listening, take a screenshot. Tell me what you think about the podcast, or tag us at SA Business Heroes over on Instagram and Facebook. Let us know that you're listening and what you'd like to hear more about. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Let's dig in. Dr. Schlosberg lived the very definition of a lean startup in the early days of ABCD Pediatrics. He and a handful of others did the daily work of running a practice and reviewed business decisions at every spare moment. Dr. Schlosberg approved billings in the few extra minutes he could grab during his lunch. And after hours, he carved out time for uninterrupted strategic direction. But he quickly learned that you cannot run a business or grow a business from the lunchroom table.
The more our practice grew and the more involved I got with the business side, the more I realized most physicians aren't business people. They are medical practitioners. They take care of sick people. They provide medical care. So as our organization grew, I was trying to identify other leaders in my organization to do some of the business, and most don't. Most are wired for healing, providing medical care, taking care of patients, not for running a business, not for growing a business, not for strategic business planning. So I've learned that in the medical world, those people are few and far between. And I was fortunate that my partner and I were able to grow our practice pretty solidly over the 21 years we've been working together.
Being innovative and making the most of technology has always been part of how Dr. Schlosberg leads. To grow his practice from one location, Dr. Schlosberg used technology to test, prove the market, and stay ahead of his competition. He was willing to take risks.
We adopted an electronic health record early on, 2003. Probably one of the first practices in San Antonio to actually, box up the paper charts and use a computer. But it was leading. It set us apart from our competitors. That's how our second location got launched, just with satellite location, embracing technology. So trying to stay ahead of the competitors and stay ahead of what everyone's doing sets the business apart.
So his first step was taking calculated risks. He would say attracting the right team to run his organization was and is his secret weapon for expansion. So his word of advice to entrepreneurs on finding the right team is to look for those who are experts at what they do and who are also in complete support of the mission and culture of your organization.
I look at our organization and say, wow, I've got all these people doing what used to happen in a small exam room, by the way, with one administrator who saw our vision and embraced our vision and wanted to make our practice better. And I'd say that's one of the things that's really helped us. We had very tremendous administrative support to help our doctors do their work, to help our business grow, to help my partner and me implement the growth we wanted. And if we didn't have strong administrative support that has complete buy-in, complete dedication to the organization, we wouldn't be nearly as successful as we've been. The winning success is not about the individual, it's about the team that is behind that individual's plan.
If you find the right mix of teammates who believe in your mission, they can be game changers who help fuel your organization. And yet, like any winning team of athletes or game changers, the mission to improve and stay ahead of the competition is unrelenting. Dr. Schlosberg listens, acts, and drives improvement to make his organization better.
Let's not make those same mistakes. I did the same thing with our patients. Why do these patients leave another pediatrician's practice? What aren't they happy with? And let's not make that same mistake. We had patients that say, the doctor wouldn't call me back. I had to wait 3 hours for a phone call. I couldn't get in an appointment for 2 weeks. So guess what? We call every patient back. They will be called back within the hour. But employees and patients alike, why did they leave? What was the problem where they were? And how can we not make that mistake? And by looking at those factors, makes our organization better.
His confident humility as a leader inspires the rest of his team to pay attention to the details because he believes that complacency is the enemy of vitality within an organization.
I think the first thing you have to do is not be comfortable where you are. If you're comfortable with what's going on right here today and pretty confident in your success where you stand right now, you're already behind. You need to be thinking about where are we going? Where are we headed? Where are my competitors? Of course, in the pediatric world, let's say we're all friendly competitors. We're all friends. We do the same thing. We see each other at the hospital all the time. But you have to keep an eye on your competitors. And how do you have an edge? It requires thinking, planning, and implementation.
The greatest enemy to learning is knowing. That is, as a business owner, learning and gaining insights about your business and those you seek to serve is crucial. Take the time to observe, learn, and be critical when necessary.
But it's that attention to detail on every aspect of our patient encounters that matter. From the time they walk in the door to the time they leave, every point along the way needs to be looked at critically. The moment you're a little comfortable with where you are, you're already behind.
As his practice expanded, Dr. Schlosberg relied more heavily on his banking relationship with the Bank of San Antonio. He leveraged the expertise of the team at the bank to help grow and protect his business.
I think the banking relationship for our practice with the Bank of San Antonio has been that growth of our practice has paralleled growth of the bank. And what your needs are early on are very different than what our needs are now. Much like our philosophy of forward thinking, embracing technology, and trying to stay competitive among our peers, the Bank of San Antonio did the same thing as they would roll out new processes, new services.
Embracing technology has proved valuable in more ways than one. It was banking technology that caught a fraudulent $35,000 check from damaging his practice.
For instance, we had a check stolen from the mail, and this thing called positive pay. I was a little skeptical. I don't know, what's this positive pay? Just another button to click and files to upload. But our banking team assured us that for safety practices, let's make sure that the money going out is really the money we intend to go out. Well, sure enough, this positive pay thing caught a $35,000 check that had been stolen.
Wow.
Had been duplicated, had been cashed in multiple states over the course of about a week. And that was technology that didn't exist 10 or 15 years ago when we started up. It wasn't even something on our radar. So the growth of technology and banking services for us has been helpful, and I'm a believer to listen, to change, and listen to what the banking team gives us.
In a moment, hear how Dr. Schlosberg lost $0 on that $35,000 check. But first, a quick word from our sponsors.
Hello, this is Tom Moreno, Chief Operating Officer at the Bank of San Antonio. I've known Dr. Schlosberg for over 15 years, and he is right in what he shares in this podcast. There is banking tech to help protect businesses. Do you know businesses have 24 hours to return a check or ACH, even if it is fraud? Our treasury advisors can do a comprehensive risk analysis of your business checking accounts, so please contact us using our contact information in this episode's show notes. Dr. Schlosberg is a great example of an entrepreneur who values partnerships and advice. As a local San Antonian, I'm proud to work with business leaders who are an example for us all.
We last left off talking about maxing yourself out. That is, being forward-thinking, embracing technology, and staying competitive. It's these moments of paying attention, really focusing, and taking action that make all the difference.
Doing things before they become a problem to avoid the problem is very rewarding. So we lost $0 on a $35,000 check, and I look back saying we were so vulnerable for so many years.
Coming from a family with 3 generations of military legacy, Dr. Schlosberg knew that eventually he was going to have the conversation with his father about what his career would be. Dr. Schlosberg was significantly inspired by his parents because they worked together as a team, as his dad headed up the LA Times as a publisher for several years. Later on, Dick Schlosberg headed a philanthropic organization and went from managing 10,000 employees to gifting hundreds of millions of dollars in grants. And I think it was very satisfying for Dr. Schlosberg to see that example from his parents and to know the value of giving back. In fact, it's easy to get caught up in the beginning when you're trying to be successful and you're getting your career going. But at some point, you have to look back and to realize you are in power to empower others.
He's in a constant state of learning new things, trying new things, but trying to make an impact. And I think that's a good lesson for us all. But both my parents are so active and so optimistic and eager to learn, even in their 70s, I'm in my 50s, that when I get together with them, their friends and my friends, I remind them all that I'm trying to stay as young as my parents currently are.
Part of the legacy of Dick Schlosberg is that he helped his son see the power of resiliency. It's reverberated through his life, and seeing how he's constantly pushing forward, even now, is inspirational.
Be students for life. Be respectful and humble in where you are, and never stop doing it. Just keep going.
In reflecting back on my conversation with Dr. Schlosberg, I was inspired by his ability to seize the moment and stay in it. Every mountain before us, every challenge we face, may we never be satisfied. May we see the trek of our life's work as a journey that we are grateful to embark upon. May you always have a thirst to learn, the power to find your edge, and the desire to maximize your life. It's within your reach. Thank you to our sponsor, the Bank of San Antonio, member FDIC, for supporting our show. Now, if you're like many San Antonians out there who have a great idea but don't quite know how to get started, or if you already have a business and you're thinking about expanding your capacity, you know that there's plenty of information out there, but you don't have time to scour the internet for it. This is where the Bank of San Antonio can help you with their business banking coaches who share the information you need to fund, protect, and grow your business. Better yet, get the Bank of San Antonio's guide to full business growth, the Business Blueprint, when you go to bankofsa.com/business blueprint. Again, download your free business blueprint guide today at thebankofsa.com/business blueprint. One more time, thebankofsa.com/business blueprint. Thank you for listening to the show this week. You can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And while you're there, please do give us a review. You can also write to us on Facebook and Instagram at SA Business Heroes. Our show was produced this week by Catherine Sanchez and me. Also, special thanks to Dr. Richard Schlosberg for sharing his advice and expertise. I'm Angelica Palm, and you're listening to San Antonio Business Heroes from the Bank of San Antonio.